say nothing.
Well, I'm gonna have something now. I'm gonna have something now.
Bobby.
No, you've been wanting something for 15 years.
At one point, Lizard Lick Towing was pulling in 2.7 million viewers a week. Let that sink in. A reality show about repossessing trucks in rural North Carolina, featuring a former powerlifter, a mortician, and a man who once got arrested for impersonating a cop, was beating out scripted television, primetime dramas, actual journalism. This wasn't a fluke. This was America, mid-2010s, sweaty, loud, and addicted to chaos dressed up as authenticity. Lizard Lick Towing sold itself as reality, not the glossy, Kardashian-filtered version, but the dirt under your nails, blood on your knuckles kind of reality. It was marketed as blue-collar grit, honest folks doing a dirty job in a dirty town, with a camera crew somehow always present during the worst-case scenario.
Excuse me. Hey. Ma'am, we have repossession.
And sure, at first glance, that premise had a certain charm. Small-town people, big personalities, and bigger biceps. But once the mugshots started resurfacing, once the punch-ups started looking choreographed, and once every single repo involved a yelling match next to a Dollar General, you had to ask, wait, was this ever real? Because underneath the cowboy bravado and southern one-liners, Lizard Lick was never really about towing trucks. It was about towing ratings. And the truth, that got lost somewhere between the smoke bombs and the side mirror that Amy karate kicked off a Dodge Ram. In this video, we're diving deep into the cultural car crash that was Lizard Lick Towing, a show that started with promise, exploded into parody, and left behind a trail of fan pages, felony charges, and Facebook conspiracy theories.
What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I got money. What are you? All right, so we're gonna see if we can get this bike.
This is the rise and fall of America's favorite repo soap opera. And yes, it gets dumber than a raccoon at a rave. Before the brawls, before the merchandise, before the fan pages begging for a reboot, Lizard Lick Towing was just that, a towing company. No cameras, no catchphrases, just Ron and Amy Shirley repoing cars in a North Carolina town with a name that sounds like a rejected Pokemon. It all started in 1998. Ron Shirley, a man built like a protein shake and powered by redneck theology, bought a single tow truck and started hauling cars in Lizard Lick, NC. His wife, Amy, a licensed mortician and competitive powerlifter, because why be normal, ran the business with him. And they weren't just good at towing, they were television good.
Oh, we're not doing it.
It's a $5,000 job.
How much?
A $5,000 job.
Okay, we might do that. On the way.
Fast forward 10 years. The couple catches the eye of True TV producers while filming segments for All Worked Up, a show about people losing their minds on the job. Ron and Amy weren't just repo agents, they were characters. Ron talked like a Southern Shakespeare on Monster Energy, and Amy could deadlift your car and your ego. True TV took one look and said, yep, that's our gold mine. In 2011, Lizard Lick Towing debuted as its own series. It quickly became a ratings juggernaut, with over 2 million viewers tuning in weekly to watch Ron yell, "I'll baptize you in diesel fuel," while tackling someone behind a Waffle House.
You didn't pay me to possess your car? I didn't do that.
You just bought yourself a world.
No,
Ryan, come on.
The formula? 1 part chaos, 1 part comedy, and just enough Southern sincerity to pretend it was wholesome. Viewers ate it up. These weren't Hollywood elites. They were relatable, loud, unfiltered people who somehow made repossession seem like community service with fistfights. And True TV loved it. By season 3, Lizard Lick was one of their flagship shows, complete with fan merch, theme tracks like Big Smo's Lick Life and Colt Ford's Hook and Book, and catchphrases printed on t-shirts. Lick Life wasn't just a brand, it was a lifestyle. But as we all know, reality TV fame is like a repo. Easy to gain, even easier to lose. By the time Lizard Lick Towing hit season 3, it had everything a hit reality show needed. Millions of viewers, viral clips, dramatic confrontations, and a lead character who looked like Hulk Hogan got baptized in barbecue sauce. But like any tow job gone wrong, the warning lights were flashing early, and no one was paying attention. The first real dent in the chrome came from something very American, a mugshot. In 2012, right as the show reached peak popularity, Ron Shirley's 2008 arrest resurfaced online. Turns out, in 2008, just a few years before his rise to televised repo fame, Ronnie was arrested on allegations that he directed one of his employees to impersonate a law enforcement officer during a vehicle repossession. Yes, before he was Reverend Ron, he was allegedly Sheriff Ron without the badge or the legal credentials. The photo? Glorious. It showed Ron looking like he had just been caught shoplifting moonshine and protein powder. The internet, predictably, exploded. Critics pounced. How could the same guy preaching morality in every episode be facing charges for fake cop cosplay? It was the kind of cognitive dissonance only reality TV can provide. Sermons on ethics from a man who once encouraged felony cosplay as a business strategy. And this was just the beginning. Another crack appeared where most reality shows eventually rot: authenticity, or more accurately, the lack of it.
Go, just go.
Come on, taking a damn bike! Bitch, you're not taking the bike, bitch!
By season 4, viewers were starting to notice that every single episode followed the same bizarre pattern. Find the debtor. Yell at the debtor. Debtor throws a punch. Someone crashes into something. Ron delivers a southern proverb nobody asked for. It was formulaic to the point of parody. Watch 2 episodes and you could basically storyboard the rest of the season in your sleep. Even loyal fans began asking the big question. Wait, is this all fake? Spoiler, according to critics, yeah, kinda. Behind the scenes, the chaos was about as organic as a gas station hot dog. According to professionals in the actual repossession industry, many of the confrontations blatantly violated standard operating procedures. One veteran repo agent described the show as a fantasy land where no one has ever heard of peaceful repossession laws. Apparently, slamming a client through a fence while delivering a life lesson isn't exactly encouraged by legal experts, and the industry wasn't amused. Professionals felt the show gave their job a bad name, turning a dangerous but disciplined profession into a circus of staged stunts and shirtless screaming.
Get out of the car! You got to stay home! You gonna stop! Don't you bend my bill!
But hey, the fans still loved it, right? Well, about that. As the show grew, so did its ego. Fan favorite Bobby Brantley, the lovable sidekick who brought comic relief and actual human emotion, began to show signs of unrest. On screen, he butted heads with Ron. Off screen, rumors swirled that he wanted out. Eventually, Bobby did leave, kind of. He flirted with launching his own thing, disappeared, came back, and left again. His loyalty to the show seemed as shaky as one of their repossessed trailers. It was like watching a band fall apart, but instead of breaking up over artistic differences, they were arguing over who got to yell at debtors with more creative insults. Meanwhile, online, the backlash was brewing. People started memeing the show, and not in a flattering way. A fan Twitter account promised that each episode would be crazier than a squirrel on bath salts at a vape convention. One YouTube compilation titled Lizard Lick's Fakest Moments racked up hundreds of thousands of views, showcasing how often punches missed, how badly lines were delivered, and how miraculously unbroken the cameras were during full-on brawls.
I'm gonna do shit! Right, damn! You on the ground! I shot my buddy! Over you! You piece of crap!
The drama wasn't limited to what aired. Off camera, Ron Shirley began testing the waters of politics, because nothing says stable leadership like a man who once encouraged fake cop tactics now running for local office. In 2018, Ron tried to leverage his TV fame into a run for Wake County Commissioner. The campaign went about as well as you'd expect for a guy best known for shouting at strangers in parking lots. He failed to get enough signatures to even qualify for the ballot. Local media joked it was the most chaotic write-in campaign since Vermin Supreme. But the real moment the wheels came off, when the very people of Lizard Lick, the town, started distancing themselves from the show. By 2025, during discussions to name a new elementary school, the idea of calling it Lizard Lick Elementary was shot down due to embarrassment. That's right, the legacy of the show had become such a punchline, the actual town didn't want to be associated with it. Let that sink in. A show meant to bring fame and pride to a tiny southern community ended up being the reason they couldn't name a school after themselves. You can't buy that kind of poetic failure.
Really? Really? Go ahead. Take something off of there.
I come here and play.
Meanwhile, True TV started pulling back, as scripted reality fatigue set in, and with viewers now aware that reality meant carefully staged tractor brawls, the ratings began to slip. The 4th season aired in 2014, and that was it. No official finale, no grand goodbye, just silence, and maybe the faint sound of a monster truck doing donuts in the distance. The fans were blindsided, petitions sprang up, Facebook groups like Bring Back Lizard Lick Towing swelled with tens of thousands of members, but no network picked it up. It was over. The repo was final. Yet somehow, the content didn't die. Clips lived on as TikTok memes. YouTube was flooded with top 10 craziest lizard lick moments videos. Reposts of Ron getting hit with a trash can. Amy drop kicking a car door. One-liners like hotter than a goat's butt in a pepper patch became the stuff of internet legend. It had failed as a TV show, but it had succeeded as content. And in the late capitalist media circus, maybe that's all that matters. Let's be clear. Lizard lick towing isn't bad because it's fake. It's bad because it's bad at faking it. There's a difference between suspension of disbelief and full-blown delusion. Audiences can forgive a little scripting. Hell, they expect it. But what they can't forgive is laziness, and Lizard Lick got lazy. Somewhere between the 50th shouting match in a gas station parking lot and Ron's 17th sermon about tough love and toe chains, the show stopped trying to surprise anyone. Every episode felt like deja vu and camo pants. What started as a scrappy, chaotic slice of life from small-town repo culture mutated into a predictable drama loop. Show up, scream, someone throws a punch, someone else gets tackled into a kiddie pool, cut to commercial. It was a reality show that felt like a parody of itself by season 4, and not in the fun Trailer Park Boys way, but in the we're out of ideas, let's recycle season 1 way. Worse, the show couldn't keep up with its own mythology. Ron was a repo man and a preacher and a motivational speaker and a political candidate. Amy was a mortician and a wife and the baddest enforcer in the South. Bobby was just confused. It was like watching a low-budget Marvel Cinematic Universe collapse under the weight of its own origin stories.
Call him out! Call him out! Get this little muscular right here. Have you got it? Yeah, I got it. It's done.
But the real problem, the core issue, is that Lizard Lick towing was pretending to be about real people while actively insulting your intelligence. Every time a debtor swung and missed like they were auditioning for WWE SmackDown, it chipped away at what little credibility the show had left. Even diehard fans admitted they stayed for the chaos, not the story. One viewer summed it up best in a YouTube comment. It's like pro wrestling, but with trucks, and worse writing. At some point, even True TV gave up. The network that once bragged about Lizard Lick as its flagship leaned harder into actual comedy shows, because at least those admitted they were fake. And yet, the show still lingers, not as a program, but as a punchline, as meme fuel, as a cautionary tale about what happens when a brand drinks too much of its own Mountain Dew. Lizard Lick towing could have been something. It really could have. There was a brief, glorious moment when the show teetered between chaos and charm, when Ron's weirdly profound redneck wisdom, Amy's mortal combat energy, and Bobby's lovable confusion somehow formed a functioning triangle of trashy brilliance. It gave people an escape, a guilty pleasure, a fantasy of justice served hot and shirtless.
Get off this truck! You! And his ass is mine. I'm gonna get rid of his ass right freaking now.
But like so many reality shows before it, Lizard Lick mistook noise for substance. It forgot the golden rule. If you're gonna fake it well. And if you're not gonna fake it well, at least don't get arrested while doing it. What's left now is a cautionary tale about the price of reality fame, about what happens when content outlives context, and about how you can build an empire out of catchphrases and car doors, but you can't hold it together with zip ties and Ronisms forever. And yet, maybe that's why people still talk about it, because Lizard Lick wasn't built to last. It was built to explode, loudly, spectacularly, in front of a camera, with a motivational quote and a folding chair. So, what does it say about us that we watched it all happen? Anyway, if you enjoyed this repo of pop culture's weirdest moment, smash that like button like Ron smashing through a double-wide door. Subscribe for more media postmortems, meme autopsies, and philosophical breakdowns of shows that peaked in 2013. And tell us in the comments which reality star should never be allowed near elected office. Because if Lizard Lick towing taught us anything, it's this. Sometimes the repo man comes for your truck, sometimes he comes for your dignity.